Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I am your host, Mercedes Castellani, and I am so happy to be recording this episode today. Today, we're going to talk about some crazy shit that I did, which was running a half marathon. Running a half marathon seemed like this crazy goal, completely out of my reach. And then I just did it. A couple of weeks ago, I did it. So, my hope is that by sharing this story with you, I want to inspire you to push yourself beyond your limits, to push yourself beyond what you think is possible for you. So, let's start by the very, very, very beginning. How did this idea come into my life? How did this happen? And yeah, why I just decided to do this crazy thing. So, last summer, summer 2023, Fabrice came home and announced to me, we are running a marathon in 2025. And I was like, wait, what? We? Why are you using that verb in plural? Why are you conjugating that verb in plural? We? And to give you some context, back in the day, I was doing sports 3 times a week. I love to doing sports. I'm always doing sports. I am a sporty person, but it was kind of a mix of running and yoga, boxing. So what I do is basically on Monday, when the week starts, I just set up 3 times within the week when I'm going to do sports. And that can be running, a bit of yoga, a bit of box, like a class in the gym or something like that. Um, but it's very flexible and I'm not really like, pushing myself. So I love to do sports. I love to have fun. I love to jump. I love to run. But I wasn't really pushing myself. So I was doing sports, but I wasn't really pushing on my running. I didn't actually have like a goal in regards to running. And then on his side, he was not running at all. He loves to surf, he loves to skate, but he was not running like at all. So when he came home and he was like, we're running a marathon in 2025, I was like, what? First of all, you are going to run a marathon, you are not even running now. And second, like, we are not trained for that. So the idea seemed like very unrealistic at the time and like very crazy for both of us. For him because he wasn't running at all, but also for me because I was running a little bit once or twice a week, but it wasn't like appropriate running, you know what I mean? So then I gave it a thought. I thought a little bit more about it, and the next day I told him, you know what? If we are running a marathon in 2025, we are running a half marathon in 2024. And we need to start training tomorrow because we need to start tomorrow in order to have like proper training and feel good. We want this to be nice. So we need to start like ASAP. And yeah, that was it. The decision was made. We made a commitment. We were going to do it. So our initial thought was, okay, let's run a half marathon in 2024. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how we feel, physically, emotionally. And then if we like it, we can run a marathon in 2025. So that was it. The decision was made. I think this was like, last summer. So summer 2023, probably around, I don't know, August or something like that, I would say. So we started training. I would say like lightly. We started training. I started to run a bit more. I started to do more things. And then I think in October, we started like properly training. In the meantime, I got my knee, one of my knees was hurt. One of my ankles was hurt, actually, not my knee. And I had to go into like some sort of like rehab for 1 month, doing lots of exercises and stuff. And they said, no movement, no running, nothing, not even walking. You just calm down. So I had that setback in the middle of the training, which was not expected. But luckily, I was able to recover from that. And I recovered very, very well because after that, I didn't feel like anything at all. So that was it. We had our goal. We were going to run a half marathon in April 2024. I had zero, I would say zero confidence in myself, to be fully honest. Like the word that is coming is I had no confidence in myself that I could actually do this. So my main motivation was I wanted to confirm to myself that I can do whatever I set my mind to do. So I have this belief that if I want something hard enough in life, I will be able to make it happen for myself. I have this belief. It's a very nice belief, actually. It really empowers me. I'm like, okay, if I'm determined enough, if I really want this thing in my life, I will find a way to make it happen. And it's a very dope belief to have. And so my motivation was to confirm. I wanted more proof that this belief was right, that if I set my mind to anything, I can actually do it. If I set my mind to run a half marathon, even though I have never run more than 10K, I can still do it. So my main motivation was that I wanted to really prove to myself that I could do whatever I set my mind to. And I really wanted to enjoy the race day. I didn't want it to suffer, to have to do this like a torture, I really wanted to enjoy, because I think you can actually run a half marathon without training too much. But the difference is how you're going to feel. If you train, you're going to feel amazing on the race day. If you don't train, you will probably get cramps. It's going to be like really, really like a torture. So there we were. We had a goal in mind. We were committed. We were going to do it. And we started training for many, many months because basically this was in April. So in October, we started like kind of training, but still light. I had this issue with my ankle. And we started like properly training, I would say in January, properly training, as in 4 or 5 times per week. So training was a really interesting experience. We started in Argentina. We trained in Argentina. We trained in Spain. We trained in France. Fabrice trained in Africa. We trained under the rain. We trained in cold days, in super hot days. I had this twisted ankle in the middle that I had to recover from. We both started having like some knee pain. I had some blisters by the end of the training. So we really had to put our bodies through a change. It really was a change. It's just something different that you're not used to do, but it gets to feel very, very good. So basically the way the training works is you do one recovery run, which is called, which is basically like a very easy run, let's say. So you do an easy run maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Then I would go to the gym on Wednesday to really have like strong muscles, strong legs that could support the running, because otherwise you start hurting your knee and stuff. Then around Thursday, I would do like a speed run, which are super fun because you just do like these intervals and it's really, really, really fun. It feels more like a game. It's super cool. And then during the weekends, you're supposed to do a long run. So you start, for example, one week you do 6, another week you do 8, another week you do 10, and you start going like slowly, higher until you reach 20K. So in my history, in my life, when I was in university, I ran 10K. So I knew I had confirmation, I had evidence that I was able to run 10K. Then when we started training we started running 12K and 15 and 16. It was so fun because it was things that I had never done before. So when one weekend, for example, we had to do 12K, I was like, oh my God, this is like the most I've ever done in my life. And then 15K, I was like, oh my God, this is like new. This is the most I've ever done in my life. And every weekend it was like, just going a little further, going a little further, going a little further. So it felt like during the week, we were actually training, setting everything in line with what we wanted to do that weekend. So every time I would hit like, I don't know, 16K and 17K, I didn't reach until 20 because the day I was supposed to do it, I had a trip and stuff. I had the retreat actually. So I wasn't able to run 20K. So the maximum that I did on a weekend was 17K. So I knew that I could run by the end of the training. I knew I could run 17K. And I was really counting because when you're running a race, there's something really fun that happens, which is like the whole energy of the group really pushes you forward. You're seeing all of these people, really doing their best, friends that are cheering their friends, families that are cheering, partner that is coming to cheer the other partner. It's just so beautiful to watch and to be there. There's such an exciting energy on the race day that I was like, okay, I'm just going to count on the race, on the energy of the group to really push me to go from 17 to 21K. So we really had to train our bodies and our minds for at least full 4 months and even a bit more because we started earlier. So we trained our bodies, but I knew that we also had to train our minds. So what we did was in the last week before the race, I have one meditation in Blisstopia podcast, which is the episode 49, which is designed specifically to do it before a race. So Fabrice, myself, and a friend of mine, Naudi, shout out to Naudi, who also did the race. We visualized the race every day for one entire week. So basically on this race, on this meditation, you get super relaxed and then you start visualizing how the race is going to unfold, exactly what is going to happen. So first you see it in your mind and then you create it in your real life. So I am so convinced that this is how it works. First you see it in your mind, then you see it in your life. So I took what I know and I used all of these tools and modalities that I master now to really train my mind to envision how the race was going to happen, how I was going to react if I had some sort of setback or if something would happen. And we really, really trained our minds to be able to handle such an experience. And let me tell you, it was really funny. Everything happened exactly as we visualized. Exactly. Even the kilometers, like during the meditation, I was like, during kilometers 17 and 20, it might probably be a little bit hard, but this is what you're going to do when it gets harder. You're going to push and you're going to do it anyways, blah, blah, blah. That is exactly what happened. Like everything unfolded perfectly. And then kilometers 17 to 20, it was harder. It was a sacrifice. So, but I knew how to push through that. So I pushed through that and got to 21K. And we all did. We all got to 21K. So, of course, there was, this training that we did. We had to put our minds and our bodies in a certain condition. But also on my side, and here I'm going to speak only on my side, I had to do some mindset work in order to get to this position where I would be able to do such thing like half marathon. First of all, I had to change my habits. So I had to look into the food that I was eating and start eating healthier, so less sugar mainly. I had to start running 4 or 5 times a week, which is a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, but I was committed to doing this. So it was in my calendar. I knew when it was happening, and I was committed to train at least 4 or 5 times a week. I had to even look into my water consumption because basically, when we are like in our normal lives, we need to drink 1.5 liters of water. But when you're training, you need to drink at least 2 liters because, you're sweating so much and you're losing a lot of water. So you need to drink even more water. So I bought a huge, like 2 liter water, and I started drinking way more water and really tracking my consumption of water. And then we had to drastically reduce the alcohol consumption. We like to have a couple of drinks here and there during the week, and especially during the weekends. I would say we were drinking maybe 6 glasses per week, and we had to reduce to 2 glasses per week. So we really had to reevaluate all of our habits and put different habits in place that would support the running. So the food was there to support the running, the water was there to support the running, the alcohol that is not supporting the running needs to reduce, and everything needs to be optimized so that you can actually give your absolute best during the weekend when you need to do a long run, and also during the race day. The second work that I really had to do was I had to work on my mindset around running. Because even though I liked running, so I could go like once or twice a week, I think still in my mind, I had this idea of running is a torture. I like how I feel after a run, but I don't really like running while I'm doing it. In my mind, running equals torture. So if I was going to run so much during the week for so many months, and I was going to put myself through this half marathon experience, I really had to reframe the way I saw running. So I went from running is a torture to running is actually super fun. And basically what happened is that we found this Nike app, which I cannot recommend enough. If you like running, I definitely recommend this. It's called Nike Run Club. And basically they give you a program. So in our case, we wanted to do a half marathon. They give you the exact program that you need to follow to train for a half marathon. And it was really fun, both for me and for my partner, because we were like, I didn't know that running could be so much fun, especially during the speed run, especially during the speed run when you're doing these intervals and you do like a minute that it's super fast, and then you lower your pace for 30 seconds, and then in another minute, and then you lower your pace, and it's really dynamic and it's really fun. And I didn't know that I could have like this much fun running, so I really shifted my associations with running. I went from running is a torture to running is fun. And this was really important because if I would have kept this, this mindset of running is a torture, I would have had such a bad time during the race. So this was really important to switch to be able to have a new perspective on running. And then the third change that I went through, that I had to work and to do mindset work around, was my identity. Because the story that I was telling myself before the half marathon was, I'm sporty. I'm a sporty person. I like to do sports. I like to be healthy. I do sport 3 times a week. And that's part of my identity. It's what I've built. It's what I've been doing for the past, I don't know how many years, maybe 8 years. I've been training every week, 3 times a week. So I consider myself a sporty person and a healthy person. But there's a big difference between being sporty and being an athlete. being the type of person who's going to run a half marathon or even a marathon. So I really had to change my identity and the way I see myself so that this identity could actually do what I wanted to do. So I started, visualizing, I started telling myself, I'm an athlete, I'm an athlete. I am eating like an athlete. I'm doing sports like an athlete. I'm drinking water like an athlete. I am drinking nothing or very, very little like an athlete. And I really had to shift my whole identity to be able to believe that I was the type of person who could go through this. So all of these changes were very, very, very interesting and very necessary. Without these changes in my habits, in my perception around running, in my identity, I wouldn't have been able to do all of that. Yes, you can train your body, but training your mind is equally important. So we trained, we had an objective, we had a training plan, we committed to that training plan. There were no exceptions. I don't think I've ever been like that proud of myself because I really had a plan and I stick to it. We could change, like, instead of running Monday, maybe I would run Tuesday, but I really had to run at least 4 times a week. And I did it. So I was really, really proud of myself, and it felt really good while I was doing it because I really had a sense of control. I want to do this. This is the plan, and I'm going to execute this plan. So it felt really, really, really good and really empowering. And it gave me, like, I do have a lot of confidence in myself, but even a lot more confidence to prove this point that I had, I can really do whatever I set my mind to, even things that I've never considered, and even things that I don't even consider right now. But if one day I decide to put that as a goal in my life, as a dream in my life, I will be able to do it. And this is just more proof of that. So all of this training, all of this transformation, and in the end, so my goal was to do 21K in 2 hours 20. So when I was doing the previous running, I had my timing. So I was actually planning to do it in 2.20 hours. And in the end, I did it in 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I even saved 5 minutes. So I was within the timing that I wanted. To be honest, once you're in the running world, this timing, it's like average. It's okay. It's not an amazing timing. Fabrice did 1 hour 50, which is a nice timing. It's like a nice timing. It's not a professional elite timing, but it's a very good timing. 2 hours 15, it's like okay. But for me, my goal wasn't really about timing. I didn't really care about timing. I just wanted to, first of all, be able to finish, just arrive in the finish line and prove to myself that I could do whatever I set my mind to do. And then I wanted to enjoy the race. I wanted to enjoy the race day because, again, I think you can run it and just leave it torture. I really wanted to enjoy. So for me, I didn't care about the timing. I wanted to finish. I finished. I proved to myself, I gave myself even more evidence that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And I really enjoyed. I had so much fun because there was this energy in all of these people. We were 23,000 people running. Everybody was excited. Everybody was happy. There were so many people supporting us along the way, from musicians, from Amore just went crazy. Amore, what's happening? What's happening? So basically, we were 23,000 people, and I was really, like receiving and feeling all of this energy from all of these people, and from all of the people who were supporting us, from musicians that were there, friends that were there supporting, family members that were there supporting. And it was really, really, really nice to just feel the energy in that place, in that race. So my goals were absolutely crushed, smashed. I was super happy. I felt deeply happy, deeply satisfied. And I think, when we are in this quest for happiness, sometimes we want to look for this happiness in different ways. Sometimes we want to just indulge into pleasure, which is one way to look for happiness, but that way of happiness is really elusive. The moment the pleasure is gone, the happiness is going to go. And the Greeks call it eudaimonia, if my pronunciation is correct. So it's basically that futile happiness that we tend to look sometimes when we indulge into pleasure, whether that's food or art or maybe shopping, if that's something you like, which is not very sustainable, but some people really use shopping as a form of pleasure. But there's a deeper, deeper, deeper sense of happiness. And this deeper sense of happiness comes when you're doing something with a purpose, when you're doing something deep. And it might be hard. There might be little to no pleasure, but in the end, you feel so satisfied. And this is what I felt. During the whole race, I was just having fun, listening to my favorite music to really put me in the best energy. I was looking into people. Some people were making jokes. I was laughing with some people. And I really had a good time. And at the end of it, I felt so deeply satisfied and content with myself because I did it. I did it. I enjoyed it. We had this objective also as a couple with Fabrice. This was something that we wanted to do together. We both were really committed to it and we both did it with no exceptions. Fabrice went out on some days where it was like super rainy and horrible weather. He went out and we were really committed. So also, as a couple, it was so nice to experience that and to do that together. So I felt really, really deeply happy and satisfied by the end of the race. And I think for both of us, it confirms that maybe we might be crazy enough to try a marathon next year. So I will leave that in there. I don't want to make any promises, but we are definitely, definitely considering the marathon for next year. So you might hear from me next year talking about a marathon. But let's take it one step at a time. Now I'm just celebrating and enjoying the half marathon. So, okay, all in all, amazing, beautiful, nice achievement, Mercedes, clap, clap, clap. But actually, who cares about the achievement, right? What I want you to take from this, and here's why this is important for you. It's not because of my achievement. Who cares? Maybe just my mom, because she's going to be proud of me. But the reason why this is important is because I want to inspire you to believe that you can do whatever you set your mind to do. And if you think there's something you can't do, think again. Because I am really convinced of this. If you are clear on what you want, there's a strong desire in your heart to do it. You're clear on what you want. You smash any limiting belief, any perception, any identity that is just annoying you. And then you do what you gotta do, meaning you take aligned action. You create a plan and you follow through on that plan. You can do anything you want in life. Everything is possible for you. And it all starts with one decision. I will do XXX by XXX. I will do a half marathon in April 2024. Sometimes, to be honest, I would literally tell myself, for example, when I would go out, when I had to do 16K, for example, on a Sunday, literally I would tell myself, I have no clue how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this. And I would just put my trainers on, put my AirPods on, and just go out and be in motion. And by being in motion, by being in the running, something would happen. Maybe all of a sudden, my body was feeling amazing. And I was like, well, I think I can do actually the 16K that I'm actually supposed to do. Or maybe I went to the park one day and I found a completely new place that I had never seen up until that point. And I was so excited to see that new place that I was like, oh my God, let me run. So I started running, and then I did like way more kilometers than I was supposed to do that day. So you never know. And my point here is, if you want to do something in life, if you set your mind to do something in life, if you have a strong desire in your heart, everything is possible for you. All you need to do is, one, be super clear about what you want. And when I say super clear, be absolutely specific. Second, you need to work on those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. The reasons why you might not do it. If you have this objective, I want to run a half marathon, I want to have a partner, I want to quit my job and create a business, I want to blah, 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 then think of the reasons why it might not happen. Think of the reasons. It might not happen because I'm too old to do this. It might not happen because I'm not attractive enough to have a partner. It might not happen because I'm not enough. It might not happen because this is a torture. It might not happen because I'm not the type of person who does that kind of thing. Think of all of those reasons why it might not happen. Those are your limiting beliefs. And if you can clear those, you can erase those and replace them with other beliefs that are more empowering, that really serve you, then the world is yours. Then you stick to the plan, you do what you gotta do, you have a plan, you follow through, and just anything becomes possible. And I'm deeply, I deeply believe in this. So this podcast is really an invitation to expand yourself into new horizons, to really just try something new. This is going to feel uncomfortable and weird for your brain because it takes a lot of energy for the brain to expand and to try something new because that feels unsafe. But on the other side of that, you will feel so deeply happy and content. So deeply happy and content. So if you're ready to expand your horizons, you're ready to really try something new, something that you have had in mind for a long time, and you're like, I want to do it, but I'm not sure. First of all, I'm not really clear on what it is. Second, I have all of these limiting beliefs that are really annoying me. And third, I don't even know where to start. If you really want some support to get from a point A to a point B and you want support, I'm your girl. I would be super happy to support you. I have supported hundreds of women at this point. I support myself every time I put my mind into something. And I would love to support you on your journey. I would love to support you in making that dream come true and making that objective a reality for you. So if you want to do that, if you're like, let's do it, I want some support because I'm absolutely decided that I want to do this, but I just don't know how, and I want some support, then I'm your girl. I'm here to support you. And I have 2 spots open to start in the month of May. So if you want to take one of those spots, to make it yours and to make your dreams a reality, just DM me. You have my link in the show notes. DM me at mercedes.castellani, and I would love to support you on that journey. I will see you on the next episode. And in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.